Welcome to the journey. This is the end of days episode. And welcome to the episode. This is the end of days. And we're going to talk about Revelation and the end of times. So welcome. Guys, the end of days is upon us. The end is near.
Thank God this is the last episode.
It's nice knowing all of you.
World ends at 10, details at 11. So, what do we know about that, and does it play into what's going on today in the world?
The only thing I know is that in 2000, it was supposed to end. All the computers were supposed to stop. The planes were going to crash. Everything was going to happen. Yep. And I was working a job and waiting to count down. I'm like, this is all bullshit.
Beep. It was also supposed to end in 2012, too.
We're allowed to.
That's right.
So, I came and went.
2012 also, right?
Yeah. And 2012 was the one like everybody was like,
Y2K,
wow.
and 2012 was a prophecy,
Y2K,
right?
people were crazy.
Yep.
They were crazy.
What was that prophecy in 2012?
That was the Mayan.
2012 was the
anybody
Mayan
really
prophecy, and it was considered the return of Quetzalcoatl. But at the same time, it was just the end of their calendar.
Yeah, that's why everyone was freaking out.
Which technically, because we have the Gregorian calendar, that actually, Quetzalcoatl, I didn't say that right.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah. That was actually in the 15 or 1700s. But because we have used a different calendar.
Actually, no.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Nope.
No?
Nope. The calendar was 13, I think it was 13,400 years. Mm-hmm. Was the length of the calendar.
Yeah, but it wasn't the length of the calendar we have today, so it didn't match up. So their years weren't as long as ours.
Their years were longer.
There was no leap years. There was no
Their years
that.
had 13 months.
Yeah?
With 30-something days.
Well, that's not what I read on the subject.
Fight!
We'll have to look into that. Joe Fu will back us up. And
Hit right here. Go ahead, hit right here. Okay,
I
now
got
I'm
Chris's
turn the
back.
other
I'm
cheek.
over here.
Oh, yeah.
So, but what I do know a little bit about, not a lot, is the end of times, specifically is more towards Revelation and the Catholic religion, the end of times, Armageddon, so to speak, and the seven seals.
Hasn't there been like so many predictions of the ends of the world? I mean, think about it. You could say, well, yeah, all these things are happening now, but I mean, we've had pandemics, we've had plagues, we've had natural disasters, and each and every one of those times that it just seemed to be grouped into a few things in a year, it was the end of times. So what's so different about this?
You know what we're missing? A good asteroid strike in modern times. That's what we're missing.
Do we really need that? Do you have to wish that upon us? Can it just hit your house and nobody else?
I mean, of all the things Tina just spoke about, that's the one that's been missing. And 10, 20,000 years ago, there was some. There was one in Utah, I believe, and that was like 12,000 years ago.
If you want to think about that, part one of the 2012 prophecies was Planet X. Nibiru.
Yeah, I remember that.
Supposed to either crash into us, an entire planet, or just pass by us and just mess us up.
Yeah.
Wasn't Nibiru supposed to crash with another planet? But didn't that actually happen? It was like, what was it? Thousands, millions of years ago, there was another planet that two planets collided and became part of the Pleiades.
And then you go
I don't know if you really,
Pilates.
if you really go into it. I mean, you could technically have considered that this happened in the past, and Nibiru was, was the moon crashing into the Earth, because the moon was another planet way back in the unknown that crashed into Earth, and that's how we.
Now, was it a planet or is it man-made? Dun 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 dun.
Man wasn't around back then,
wait,
so.
now that brings
There were far more intelligent
Alien.
Well, yeah.
Well, I
And
don't
maybe,
doubt that.
maybe
I don't
even
doubt
our
that.
species, humans. Listen, this could be our collective memory as a species. All these like doomsday prophecies, these may be things that happened in our collective past, and we're just now, looking at these things. We have that collective memory, and oh my God, this is what's happening.
I mean, there's so many similarities across all the religions.
But clearly, there's been advanced cultures all over the world. I mean, you see the signs of it. Look at the Anunnaki. Look at Turkey when they found all the ruins over there. I mean, you just can't deny it. There's just
but the whole thing about across the different religions and stuff, as you look into these, and I looked into the Catholic one pretty thoroughly. I'm not a proponent for religion, but I do believe in a higher being. But I don't believe in organized religion, and I look at these things as hokey at best. At best, I mean, if you look into the Catholic revelation from the Bible, the last chapter of the New Testament, it speaks about the seven seals and the four riders, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and the more you read into it, it just gets hokier and hokier and hokier as you go along. And there's actually a part in it where, at one point, God takes a break and, calls his chick up and hangs out for about an hour or two. And then more stuff starts happening. And it actually says, after about half an hour or so, after a pause, the next seal is open or the next thing takes place. And it's, 24 or 40... 24 thrones with 24 elders that they don't even explain. And 7-headed dragons with 10 horns, which is a really weird...
What's the matter with that?
It's just...
Seems normal to me.
Sorry.
Right.
But the fact that it has 10 horns on 7 heads is a little off, I think.
Well, it's
But
the rapture. According to the rapture in
there's
Christian
two of those.
beliefs, it's, there, when that happens, people who are flying planes who are believers, they just get taken and the planes crash and cars crash. And there was a whole book series based on that. The Left
it's
Behind
called
series.
The Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye.
Yep. It was actually really good.
It was.
It was really good. My mom's very, very big into that. And she was like, see, I said, don't worry, I'm going to be one of those people left behind to take care of everybody else. So
Exactly.
I got wrap my head around that.
Exactly.
But I'm not laying waste to some of the other theories that are out there about what goes on and stuff
No,
like
I just
that.
find that there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
And if you line them all up and made a graph or a column, you would see it's like the number 7 is prevalent in a lot of them. Or,
Oh my God, yeah.
The 7 sons, or then there's this happening and that
The
happening.
dragon with
and
7
I think
heads.
I kind of agree with Tina that I think that this is maybe like when you're a parent and you tell your kid, hey, when I was little, I ran with a stick and I poked an eye out. Well, I kind of think it's almost like warnings, like, hey, this happened to us once before. If everybody doesn't behave, this is going to happen again.
When I was younger, I used to walk to school in the snow both ways.
Uphill both ways.
On stumps.
If you subscribe to the electric universe theory also, I mean, you think about it, just like that, it's a collective memory. I don't know how many years ago, but prior to the last ice age, maybe longer than that, but Saturn used to be our sun. I mean, that's the new electric universe theory, where Saturn is a dwarf star. It's considered a dwarf star, but it was once the sun for a galaxy, and that was ours. So if you think about it, at the time, Mars was populated with us, as well as Earth, and now the actual sun came in and it threw off everything, and where it knocked Saturn out of its orbit, and that brought Mars to near destruction. And this is where you see paintings, Renaissance paintings of fire falling from the sky and a planet, a red planet, and all kinds of things.
Virginia. I saw that movie.
But if you think about it, that was actually witnessed by ancient people who, lived, and during that time in a world where it wasn't like the bright sun that we have now, which is not native to this planet. It was actually Saturn. I mean, think about it. Our eyes hurt to look at the sun. So if you go by that theory too, it's a collective memory of the end of the world,
Well, in proportion to how far we are from our sun, we are in the Goldilocks zone Mars is just a little too close.
That's my
No,
point.
excuse me, too
Far.
too far. So if Saturn, depending on the proximity from Saturn to Mars, it may hold some weight, but I think Saturn's just way too far out there. Plus, it wouldn't have rings. It's a gas giant, but Jupiter. Now Jupiter,
It
that's a
would
whole other
have
story.
rings. That's the whole point. It was a dwarf star.
It wouldn't have rings. Saturn has rings.
No, that's why it has rings. It was a dwarf star that became a planet. It cooled off and became a planet that formed all these gases now that are trapped in its atmosphere. It was a dwarf star that lit up planets. That's why it has rings.
Well, it has rings because it has hundreds of moons that collide within each other and then get caught up in the gravitational
Did you ever
force.
hear about the electric universe theory?
Probably a
Read
little
about
bit.
it.
Probably a little bit. But it's I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying just that the proximity factors
That's
doesn't
it right
really
there.
make it.
Well, you have to understand
Miles,
that
I
it
wanted to
wasn't
make sure.
in the orbit it is in now.
Actually,
Because
we could go
the
by
sun-
astronomical.
well,
coming
there's
in-
theories behind that the further planets, I think it's Uranus and Saturn switch places. I believe that's what they think.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because
It's
Saturn
Ur-
is on its side as well.
It's Uranus and Neptune.
Uranus and Neptune switched.
Why'd you point at me when you said Uranus?
I noticed.
You know why.
Because I'm a gas
Come on.
giant.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I mean, there is some scientific theory behind some of this that is probably true.
I just think that all of this, it comes into play where, and listen, there's also all these theories now that Mars was once populated, right?
Yeah,
And
but the whole thing is suns don't just pewter out and
sure they do.
solidify.
If your
But it's
sun,
actually-
if your
it's-
sun is a dwarf star,
And if you look at
Yes,
it, all
it
the,
does.
half the prophecies about the end of the world,
Who's Earl?
he's down the hall. The end of the world has the sun just burning up or dwindling off. So
Yeah, our sun is one of the smaller ones out
Our
there.
sun is almost the
right, but at the
smallest.
end, in all those prophecies, that's what happens.
You really don't get brown stars are smaller. But our sun is like number 3 on the smallest of stars. Period.
but
now
when we had a dwarf star, the electric theory universe, the electric universe theory, I'm picking up on you.
I'm sorry.
When Saturn was the dwarf star that was lighting up planet Earth and Mars, it wasn't what you would know today as daylight. It was more of a purplish haze. It was darker then.
Well-
it wasn't as bright.
what I'm trying to get at is that our small sun, one of the smallest there are in the universe that we know, is going to expand greatly
Right.
before it contracts again and kill everything around it.
Right.
Now, when it does that, it's not really going to be like a planet or anything like that. It's never will be.
Well,
Even all the different stars that we know of, none
because
of them.
the sun is not this sun that we have now is not a dwarf star. What Saturn was considered a dwarf star that lit up the planets like a sun. So we didn't have our sun that we have now. We had Saturn as our sun. Thousands, millions of years ago. And it wasn't a daylight like it is today. It was more of a purplish haze like it is.
Hendrix.
It's more like a 25 watt bulb compared to a
Yeah.
250 watt bulb.
Yes.
It just
There you go.
Yes.
and sometimes theories and myths go back and have some truth to it. Absolutely, not denying that. But there's no way that Saturn was a star of any type or sort. And the fact that our sun is probably a few billion years older than Saturn is kind of like, tosses it away at that point as well.
Read the
sun
book.
was the first thing here.
Read the book The Electric
You know,
Universe by
he's
he's a well-known astronomer and scientist. Read it. And he actually has like a lot of, it wasn't just theory, like it really makes sense when he talks about it. And you go back in history
So
about the way that the universe operates, and not so much a radioactive universe, but he really made the argument for an electric universe. So, and how lightning happens and how lightning within deep space actually starts. And this is what starts a process of change in the universe. It's really interesting. It's a good read.
And then basically what it did was Saturn, that was a type of star producing light, fizzled out. Mars, where the population was.
What happened was this sun came into play. This sun came in as whatever, like collective explosions or whatever, and it became the sun that it is. It knocked everything out of orbit. Mm-hmm. So that knocked Saturn out of orbit. That became cooled and a planet. So it was no longer in the position, and it wasn't a dwarf star anymore. Now it was out of the orbit that it usually is in, and it became a planet. At that time, Mars was just as populated as Earth. Mm-hmm. And Mars was also lit up by Saturn, the dwarf star.
Okay.
So, and I forget the whole theory behind it, but Venus plays a role in it because Venus was sent on for years a crazy orbit. And that's where a lot of, it became a comet, basically, for years, Venus. But this is where people have this idea of destruction and fire from the sky and, fire and brimstone and all that. I think it is a collective memory, and someone just gets a download of it and puts it down on paper. And listen, do I think a lot of religions, like the Catholic religion, I mean, the Bible was written before the book of Revelation was written. The book of Revelation was added to it later on. Mm-hmm. And that was basically because when the Bible was written, everybody was a pagan. They couldn't convert people. So what they do, they wanted to scare the crap out of them instead. Mm-hmm. So let's write the book of Revelation. If you 100%. Don't. So, I mean, could they have gotten some of those stories from, if you, Frankenstein or all these other horror stories, there's someplace deep that you're getting this inner memory from. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah. Just to add into that, the distance between our sun and Earth is 1 astronomical unit. The distance between Mars and Saturn is 7.99 astronomical units. So it's quite a distance.
Yeah. Quite a large distance. It would have to be just as bright. It'd have to be twice the size of our sun to produce light to Mars.
Where it is now.
Yes.
Not where it was.
Yeah.
Think of a pool table. Think of a pool table and think of the pool balls.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also got to realize
that's what you're thinking of. So here you take the cue and you hit the ball and you just knock Saturn and whatever else off into the end of the pool table, and then you knock the sun closer.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the second most powerful thing in our galaxy, which is Jupiter, and nothing gets by Jupiter.
But
nothing
now,
nothing.
But you're not taking into the account of the theory of electric universe, where that was not the lineup at the time when Saturn was the dwarf star.
Pool balls.
That was not the lineup.
Very good analogy.
Jupiter's the gate.
Thank you. Somebody gets me.
Yeah. You don't play pool.
That explains it.
Take you.
That's what you think.
I was talking to him,
but
but
challenge now.
I'll take that bet.
He plays the winner.
I'll take that bet.
Just remember, if I start to lose, I hit you with a pool cue.
So, but anyway, I wanted to pull us back into the end of days. We kind of got a little lost there. What else we got? You got 26,000 words there.
That's what we got.
All right, so you've got that. You've got.
All right, wait, hang on. Don't start yet.
You've got many. There's end of days in
every single
Jewish religion. There's
everything.
end of days, and for Buddhists, there's end of days, basically for every body. There's end of days for Norse. That was Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, everyone died.
Yep.
Hurt my heart right there. Hurt my heart.
That's when Hela came, and
we're not talking about the Marvel universe.
Oh, come on!
We're talking about Loki getting angry that everybody killed his children and it was dripping venom into his eyes.
Nice. I missed that part.
But then again, I mean, if you really want to talk about Loki, I mean, look at his children.
Mm-hmm.
Hel, his daughter, half alive, half dead.
Nice.
He had a son that was a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
He had a son that was a human. The son that was the wolf was Fenrir. You have Sleipnir.
Mm-hmm.
The horse. Right. I want you to think back a little bit about that too. Mm-hmm. I mean, Loki gave birth to a horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Other things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yes. Yes.
Good
Very
thing it starts out
interesting.
as a calf. That would hurt.
All right, so you want to go in what? You want to go into some segments?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring us back into the idea of end of days before we get too lost, into all the theories and stuff like that.
Well, the reason why I brought up the electric universe was to bring up a point that disastrous events, all those things, is a collective memory. And maybe that's where these religions get this idea of the end of days. It's almost, I know it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
kind of
Running
thing.
with the stick. I said it.
Running with the stick.
Running with the
Yeah.
stick. You're gonna lose an eye.
I mean,
Someone's gonna poke your eye out.
To me,
It's a
and
warning because it happened already.
How did it happen already?
What happened already? The collective memory.
The stick in the eye.
The stick in the eye.
well,
Because there's many times as we have waited for the end of days.
It never
I'm
happened.
kind of think it never happened or it happened so long ago that we just generally
Well,
remember.
we're sticking a period at the end of the sentence. What if end of days was like a morph, like the dinosaurs got phased out,
That's-
and then we took that was the
Exactly.
end of days for them.
Exactly.
Can't wait until we get phased out.
Right.
well,
I think it's a
You won't be
spiritual
there next year.
thing.
I think
energy
AI is
ball.
going to do that.
I think it's a spiritual thing. I think the end of days could be a whole change in
Well-
the collective consciousness, spiritual beliefs.
well, revelation in itself is a passing of knowledge or truth, and that's what to reveal. Revelation. Now, in the Bible, the New Testament, there are several ways to look at it. There are different types of views on it. I do not remember them all. Preterism is the looking at it as symbols, I believe. Historism is looking at it as something that actually has happened and then was revealed to John of Patmos to be written down for the New Testament or for whatever purposes. There's
Futurism?
futurism, millennialism. There's a couple,
Idealism, postmillennialism.
which is different views on it as symbolism or past events, future events, or just events that will partially take place but not really. It's
Just in general, when it comes
Yeah.
to the rapture, the rapture is considered pre.
See?
Can't even say the word.
That damn ringtone you made today.
The rapture, I mean, is really considered pre-tribulation, but you've got pre-tribulation, mid-tribulation, post-tribulation. There's so many different aspects of every single part of.
And what I think also is that it comes down to my view and my opinion alone, where religions are meant to keep people in line. Step out of line, you're gonna pay the wrath of God, everything else.
That's to keep everybody in check, isn't it?
That's
Basically,
what I
it's
just
just
said.
to keep you in line.
That's what I just said.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know any pagans that have an end of days theory. Do you?
No.
No.
But I was thinking about this also, like as far as like different religions. But if you look at, I believe it's Hinduism, the one with the Yugas, the different ages, right? There's the Kali Yuga and the Satya Yuga and the right. So each of those ages is like 5,000 years.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is 25,000 years. And they look at the whole universe. And to me, the most accurate astronomy is Vedic astrology because it's amazing. But they don't have that. They have different ages. So I don't know what we're in now, but Kali Yuga is considered the time when there's all this destruction, when you would think it's the end of days. And it's really the end of that age.
Yeah.
Could it be the end of a lot of life? Possibly. But is it the end? No, because right after Kali Yuga comes, is it Satya Yuga?
No, the Kali Yuga is the last of
Right.
the 4 ages.
Right. And then it's a circle.
Right, and then it goes and it's the Satya.
Satya, which is the golden age. And it's believed also, it's almost like that's the age. So the Kali Yuga is when maybe I guess a lot of people die or whatever. There's destruction, there's disease and all this, and it's just the end. But collectively people, I guess, forget how great they are. This is where there's advanced societies and they're at their lowest point in Kali Yuga. And then comes Satya Yuga, and then you have all this, people remember, and it's a golden age, advanced societies.
Basically, what people lose as well is the fact that Revelation and the whole end of days is not the end of days, because there's a whole section that continues afterwards stating how there will be a new earth, a new Jerusalem specifically, that Christ will come down, live 1,000 years with you and chill in your house and hang out.
That's the second coming.
Maybe a little foot
Right.
tending.
Right.
Yeah.
New stars will burn over Albion.
And so it's actually,
It's the end
it's actually
of
a
life
turnover.
as you know it. Not the end of life.
As we know it.
So at the same point as it
So
being end of
musical.
days, it's actually a rebirth and new edition. And it speaks about thousands and thousands of years after Revelation. So, where the beast and the dragons will be put into the abyss, and they will stay there for 1,000 years and then be set free, and then the story just goes on for another a couple thousand years afterwards. So
So-
it's not actually an end of days.
So are we within that 1,000 years where they're subdued or they're out?
Well, they come out and then they get subdued again.
Right. What
and
part of that
banished.
are we in right now?
That's
what I'm
that's the whole thing.
Yep.
Well,
That's the
we're,
thing
we're
that nobody
technically
knows.
we're in the COVID phase.
No, I'm
would
saying
say
like
it's
you're
not.
saying every 1,000 years they come out, they go back in.
Oh, no,
I
no,
would
no,
say-
no, no.
So I
That's
would
not
say-
what I said. That's not what I said.
Oh, clarify
In
that.
Revelation, after Christ comes out for 1,000 years and spends the second coming chilling in your
Which hasn't
house,
happened
there yet.
chilling in your house, making your tea. After 1,000 years, that the beast will be set free again,
Okay.
and then they will be subdued again, and it's another 1,000
So it's a
years.
cycle.
and-
So they're,
They're
so,
all-
Yeah.
so they're down right now. Okay.
Yes.
Well, no, technically
Well,
it
no,
hasn't
they're up.
happened yet.
Right.
If you
Well, you're saying with after Jesus' second coming, then they'll be set free. That's what you
after
said.
1,000 years,
1,000 years after his second coming?
yes,
So they could be out now.
because you get 1,000 years chilling with the man.
Oh, they definitely have.
But that would mean that Christ is here now.
Why?
No.
Isn't it 1,000 years after the second coming of Christ? Is that
That
what
was
you
only
said?
the first coming.
The first coming.
Yes.
He's making it sound like when Jesus comes out.
Now, I never
he's
spoke,
the good
I
guy
never
who's going to
spoke
put all
to
the
Mary
good guys
Magdalene.
down.
I never spoke to Mary Magdalene, so I don't know if it was the first coming or the second. But
Oh!
what'd I say? What'd I say? What'd I say? Cole, back me up.
Goes like, I am
I ain't
not.
touching that.
I'm not going anywhere near that.
So,
To all you Catholic people out there, we do humbly apologize for racist
All the Catholics are laughing right now.
But you said, okay, so you don't know, the first coming, 1,000 years after the beast will be released. But Christ was
Second
around
coming.
2,000 years.
Christ
ago.
came 1,000 years ago, supposedly. And was
2,000.
died
2,000
2,000 years ago. He came. He was, crucified, died, was buried, and rose again.
Suffered, died, was very good. Right.
Easter Bunny
The
came.
Antichrist is supposed to come, mock all the people. Revelation happens around that same time, and then Christ comes back.
Mm-hmm.
For 1,000 years he reigns, and then the demons are let back out.
But what I don't get is, as the Catholic religion, Revelation is in the New Testament, written for the Catholics. Why did the Jews get saved and not the Catholics? What's up with that? No, seriously. 144. It says specifically 144,000.
They are the chosen ones.
They are the chosen ones.
144,000
That is the funny little
will
hook
survive.
in all
will
of these,
survive, and they will
religious
be
theories
marked on their forehead
is
that they
Every
We'll
single
survive.
one of them.
It's
It's like,
because
yeah, this
Jesus
house
was a
would be
Jew.
cool.
I was just,
Right?
Get out of my
Jesus
head.
was
Exactly.
That's
Jesus
it.
was the first Jew.
So he's taking.
Whoa,
Like,
what?
I'm gonna say
First Jew.
Why not? He's taking care of his
He
own.
was the first
Done.
Catholic.
He was the first Catholic. He was the
Okay.
first Jew. What?
Why?
He could be the first Jew.
he wasn't the first.
Hold on, Brian.
Hey,
we need you.
I'm like the second Jew.
So,
But Jesus wasn't even. Think about the religion he started. It's not Judaism.
Jesus started no religion, let's be honest here.
Well,
Religion started 300 years after. They started writing things a few...
Well, he did have a. He did
100 years
have-
later.
Jesus didn't.
Jesus
practice,
was upset at the establishment
Right.
and the way things were
And
being
his
done.
practices were
That's
not
all he was.
Judaism.
He never said he was son of God. He said we are all sons or daughters
Yes,
of God.
but he didn't practice your typical Judaism when he was around either.
Mm-hmm.
So he was sort of the bringer of a type of Christianity, which is not what you see today. Clearly,
Well, he wasn't a bringer of it. He was just doing his thing. And I think certain areas of the world, everybody does their... That's why there's 36 different types of Catholicism and sects of Judaism. There's all you... He was just one in that area that was practicing probably a little differently, but he was never starting out in a religion. He was just fuck the establishment kind of guy.
I don't think there would be Christianity if
Christianity was created by Romans. That was it.
based
That's
on
it.
the fact that a Roman soldier saw his vision of
A
Jesus.
Roman general,
A Roman
whose mother
soldier.
was sitting on the throne as empress of Rome of the Roman Empire at the time, saw the sign in the sky, which was probably a meteorite, looked like a cross. They won the battle. They were grossly outnumbered, but they won the battle. Went back to his mom. His mom said, "That's
That
it. We
was
accept Christianity."
Paul.
And
Paul
no, that
saw
was
the-
Constantine.
No. Constantine's mother, Helen. Constantine was the Roman emperor. His mother traveled to Jerusalem to get remnants because Constantine was the one that issued the writing of the Bible. And he's the one that wanted to
And his
unite.
mother's beckoning.
He's the one that wanted to unite Rome. And by doing that, he started the Roman Catholic religion based on the Christian beliefs that were brought over. And the Roman soldier you're speaking of is Paul, who saw the sign of the cross before he went to battle. And that was a sign to him because he was a devout atheist before that. And he became a believer in Christianity. Constantine sent his mother to Jerusalem, and she was on a quest for a piece of the cross, nobody really knows if she actually brought it back. However, she brought back these relics, and that's how he started the Roman Catholic religion. Mm-hmm. And that's where Roman Catholicism came from, Constantine. Yes. And he issued the writing of the Bible as we know it today. The King James Version, I'm sorry.
Tomato, same basic story. Yeah. I think so. But that's where we...
And that was
that's where it
500
comes
years
from.
after the life of Christ.
I think it was 300, but who's counting?
500.
Okay. Fact check.
Yeah.
Anyway, somebody needs to be. You got to do this sooner or
Everybody looks
later.
at me.
So,
You're the one who's on the internet.
I know.
yes.
And that's the emperor that actually, when he created the Roman Catholic religion, because original Christianity that I guess was brought over, that traveled,
Origins of Christianity.
didn't have all these holidays that they have now. So
stole the
Constantine
pagans. Yeah.
was the one because Constantine said, how do I get these pagans to join this religion? Now he announced, guess what? We celebrate Christmas, and guess what? It was the sun god's birthday, Mithras, and they used to celebrate Mithras. His birthday was December 25th, and Yule, which starts December 22nd, the solstice. All of that were all special days for the pagans. So he created December 25th to be the birth of Jesus, just like Easter. He created. That's the resurrection of it. But it really isn't because it's going by an old pagan religion, which is Ostara. Because if you look at and still to this day they go by that. If you look at the spring equinox, every full moon, right after that full moon, that Sunday will always be Easter. That's why it's different every year.
Yeah, exactly.
And that came from Constantine.
Thank him for being Catholics and being thrown to the lions. Sorry. Anyway,
According to the Moody Handbook of Theology, the official beginning of the Roman Catholic Church occurred in 590 CE.
when was Constantine around?
Type in Constantine, you know it's going to come up.
Marulus.
Anyway,
Oh, Constantine the Great. There you go.
Constantine the Great was Roman emperor from 306 to
thank you.
337.
You can't create a religion 200 years after you're dead. It was 300s. Thank you.
Wow, you were right about one thing in your life.
You're fired.
I'm taking all my shit and going home. Whip.
So the first pope was Pope Gregory the First.
I thought what's his name was?
590 CE.
The first pope was Peter. Saint Peter was the first pope.
Roman Catholic
He
Church.
was a perpetrator. He perpetrated the
I don't know what's
Poetry.
going on around this
The
table.
first-
the potpourri.
Let me
It was before it was legal.
let me change that. Let me
Peter.
let me-
Hold on.
Yeah.
The first Roman Catholic Pope was Pope Gregory the First.
Okay, who was the first pope?
Who was the first Roman Catholic Pope was in 590 CE.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of Roman Catholicism, the first Roman Pope happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, I know. It's getting hard to say these words. The first, traditionally considered the first Pope was Peter. Among these, 82 people have been proclaimed saints.
What did CE
Oh, there's a
stand
list
for?
of popes.
Now, specifically with the
That's before
getting into the
Christ
end of
CE?
times kind of
I'm
thing.
forgetting.
CE is after.
Is AD.
I thought AD was after.
They're the,
The
Yeah.
same
It's technically BCE.
before Christ existed.
Yeah.
BCE, and then
Right.
AD was after death.
Yes.
Correct.
But what is
But they
CE?
changed it to CE, and I don't.
That's
CE,
after?
I think it's something in
CE is the
Latin.
Christian era or the Catholic era.
Catholic era. Okay, so it's still
Sure.
after death.
yes.
Same thing.
Yes, it means the same thing.
Okay. We'll call it up.
There was a Saint Linus, like Linus from Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
It's great.
Anyway,
There's some interesting names of popes.
Come on, you're telling me to record. I'm recording. I'm going. Hello, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you're listening to The Journey with Doc Odyssey. Get to the podcast!
and now we're going to do a segment of Dark Oddity. Today's topic is the Mothman.
Dun dun dun.
Here we go again.
So, in 1966 in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, locals started seeing sightings of what they described as a man with 10-foot wings and glowing red eyes. No, it wasn't me.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I have heard about this.
And it started some point in, I believe it was somewhere around November of 1966 when the locals started seeing this thing around the town, excuse me. And about 50 something different witnesses came forward and said they saw something like this. So you wonder how many people actually didn't come forward who thought they saw something as well. Now, what's interesting is over the course of a year, all these sightings had taken place, and almost pretty much to the year later, a giant collapse of a bridge took place, which killed 45 people. The main bridge across the Ohio River. And so right there, the legend was born of the Mothman, and he's the bringer of doom and stuff like that. Now, I've done a little bit of looking into it, and it's pretty interesting because just 2017, there was over 40 sightings in Chicago, which is kind of crazy. And there's actually a video on the web.
Don't they always like there's sightings always around like radioactive plants or
munitions factories or storage places? That's where the Point Pleasant,
nuclear places or something
well,
like that.
Chernobyl. There was there was sightings around Chernobyl right before it went kaput, and there was also there claims to be sightings around the Trade Center right pre 9/11.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's.
I didn't hear about
I
that.
I didn't hear about that either.
Yeah. Doing the research, it's come up that that's one of the places that he was sighted right before the terrorist attack. Now,
So, is he like maybe a friendly neighborhood alien warning us?
well, some of the theories, specifically from Point Pleasant, there was a lot of UFO activity as well during that period. So he is tied in to the sightings of UFOs. I personally don't see a connection because it's an humanoid with wings and UFOs.
There are
I don't know.
many different types of aliens.
Well, granted, but I don't know. It just, to me, my instinct says it doesn't really fit.
Maybe he's an alien experiment gone wrong.
Yep.
Could be.
Maybe he was purposely created like that because people would take notice of somebody with wings.
Well, I also did some research on the town. And the town's been incorporated since pre-Civil War and pre-Revolutionary War times. And I came across some interesting facts about 1770s or so. It was a time of British colonialism, and the Americans, were butting heads. The French and Indian War had taken place just a little bit before there. And there was the chief of the Shawnee tribe. They called him Cornstalk. I don't know his actual, native name, but had been in some skirmishes against the Americans and the British, fighting for their land. And at one point, after the two battles had taken place, is when the Civil War started to kind of happen. And he decided to keep his tribe out of it, but he was in the minority at that point because most of the natives thought, well, if we can fight the Americans and get rid of them and get our lands back. But I guess he was smart enough to see that there's too many Americans, at that point to actually, do anything about. So he decided to take the road of peace. And prior to setting up a meeting with, it was at Fort Hood in West Virginia, he set up a meeting to meet with some of the Union generals to discuss what they wanted, how much land they were going to come and take, and maybe he could keep some of his tribes safe. So prior to that, right, like the day before, the day of, a Union soldier was killed by a native, and they just, I guess Cornstalk didn't know it and still went to the meeting, and then they captured him and took him as prisoner at that point. And I think like a day or two later, they murdered the 3 or 4 that went with Cornstalk. They murdered them all. And supposedly the Shawnee tribe placed a curse on the city. And that's kind of where maybe the whole Mothman thing comes into play as well. But it kind of doesn't fit, if you ask me. There's not enough tragedy, and there's a whole, couple hundred years there between the time frames. But doing some research, I try to find and be thorough with what goes on in that area. I did come across a very well-known legend on the other side of the pond that's kind of similar to Mothman, which is Spring-Heeled Jack, who is glowing red eye, devil figure, scales the sides of buildings, jumps from roof to roof. Type of Mothman figure, no specific wings discussed in the Spring-Heeled Jack, but he is seen for 40 or 60 years in parts of the UK. So who knows, maybe that's the basis of Mothman, maybe that's the evolution of Mothman, I don't know. Maybe it's like a Jeepers Creepers kind of thing where he sleeps for or an it kind of thing where he sleeps for decades at a time, and who knows. Specifically, though, they say Spring Heel Jack turned out to be some college kids pranking. I don't know, and Mothman is still traveling the globe, and
Did anything happen in Chicago in 2017 after that
Was there a
more
disaster
recent-
that came after?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
not that I know
I
of.
don't know.
Not
Did
that I
anything
know of.
major happen in Chicago in 2017?
The four alleged Mothman sightings that preceded disasters was the Chernobyl disaster, the sighting for 9/11 supposedly happened 5 days after, not before.
Okay.
And there's the I-35 West Bridge collapse, and then the swine flu outbreak in Mexico.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was the most recent, though, right? What year
Right,
was that?
it was April 10th of 2009. All right. The
I had swine flu.
residents,
We always knew you were a pig.
the residents in one of the Mexican states noticed a strange creature. They said he was very tall, hairy, and had two expansive wings and bloodshot eyes.
It's Harry Man's cousin.
It's Mark. Fucking.
Down, and apparently they have a museum
Yes. There's also a
dedicated
festival
dedicated
for
to
Mothman every year.
dedicated to
Does
the,
he go to it?
to the winged weirdie.
Nice.
The winged weirdie.
Weirdy.
Yes. Since 2002, I believe, Point Pleasant has had a Mothman festival every
That would
year.
be awesome if we need to go to one of those festivals.
I would like to
and,
go to one of those
Like,
festivals.
see if he shows up. Like, I
I
want his
kind of
autograph.
doubt it. It's kind of like, having a festival for Elvis and he shows up. It's not really going to happen.
Yeah, but everyone's gonna dress like him. How would you?
Yeah, how would you know, really?
The one that flies like.
The Mothman Festival for 2021 is September 18th through 19th.
Let's go.
Okay.
Get on it.
Search the video, please,
Which video?
of the Mothman.
Which one?
Just, there's only one real video that, and it should be in your list right here.
I kind of want to see them all.
Give a
Reminds me of
second
the,
I wanna
the
poke
Jersey
him.
Devil.
I want to poke him.
Get
Similar
off.
description.
Yeah, there you go.
But the Jersey Devil now, isn't that, like, small?
Yeah. Yeah, the Jersey Devil has a similar description. It's just not described as tall the same way the Mothman.
It's more
is described.
bird-like, but
It's like
short.
shorter in stature,
Yeah.
but also
And red.
furry and
red.
winged.
There's a
and
lot of creatures.
devil-like. Yeah,
So
a lot
what
of those
if, what if these
cryptozoological-
creatures are really, they're real, but they're in another dimension? And they're coming here through portals. Like, we were talking about that.
We were talking about
the
that
other
with
day.
Loch Ness Monster and Champ
and
from
and
Lake
Bigfoot.
Champlain. Yeah.
All right, let's leave Daryl out of this.
What about on the South Shore of Staten Island? There's one of the blocks that leads down to the beach, down in Tottenville. There's been a bunch of sightings over the years of a half. It's kind of like a half human, half eagle, half lion type thing. Yeah.
There's a name
Well,
for
there's
that.
a lot of halves.
There's a lot of heads.
Griffin.
A griffin,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I heard of that.
That's a little
Chimera.
weird. Now,
It's more than
I will
two
tell you
days.
this: driving through the neighborhoods, 2 different occasions, I've seen, no joke, this high eagle.
Oh, yeah.
This high. Yeah. One is all dark brown, and one is like lighter patches. But
There's eagles all over Staten
it
Island.
came down, phoop, grabbed the fucking rat,
And I asked her how
and
big the
then
wings
perched
were.
on a fucking
Yeah.
thing, and I watched it eat the fucking rat right there.
Beep,
Nuts.
Is this
beep, 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 beep.
No, it's a news article. It's a news station. And then the big brown one was eating roadkill on the side. Somebody ran over something and it was just munching. And you see all these little dogs in the yards. I'm like, oof, not good.
Hide your dogs.
Yeah, they grab little dogs.
Yeah.
Little kids too.
Oh, think about what is it? The woman that
Hide
was
your
on
dog,
vacation.
hide your wives, hide your kids.
It's not it.
legend. Hunters in Mason County may need to be on the lookout for something other than deer when they hit the woods this week. Eyewitness News reporter Fallon Pearson shows us what else may be lurking out there too.
Up until Sunday night, he hadn't been spotted recently, but according to these pictures, the legendary Point Pleasant Mothman is back. These pictures, supposedly taken by a man who says he was driving along State Highway 2 in Point Pleasant, saw something jump from tree to tree. So he pulled off the road to take these pictures. The man declined an on-camera interview, but is adamant the pictures are real. And some locals like Carolyn Harris.
And that was just yokels. I believe it's real.
So he's the one who jumped and had his friend film for him?
No, that was
In Point Pleasant.
That's why he declined.
That means that he probably goes to that festival.
He's more of a Burning Man festival kind of guy, I think, if you ask me.
Will the real Mothman please step up? Please step up. Please step up.
So that was pretty interesting seeing that video. Joe, make sure the video plays if you can.
Do we have to say it like that? It's obvious I can spoil
Joe, play the video! So,
Back to you, Bob.
Brian.
so what you could see in those pictures, though, you could actually see legs where if it was a large bird or crane, there's no extended beak. It's a round head, and it's kind of weird.
Wild to see. I would love to see that.
Well, owls have a round head.
Poop my pants if I saw something like that.
I mean, it's not much different than what we see normally, but I mean, to see it like where other people could see it, that would be.
He's like, wait, you saw that too? Yes!
Yes!
We had that moment.
You never talked about
Wait a minute, you saw that?
No, you heard that? That's what we had.
No, I'm saying we never talked about that here.
Oh, that was just
Tell everybody what happened.
No, we talked about it.
Did?
Yeah?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But I don't know what I ate for lunch today, so.
Right. But you remember Mothman.
Yes. Yes. So that'll wrap the Dark Oddity for today on the Mothman. Over to you.
And now in other news.
And now to the weather. It's shitty outside!
Let's go rain!
Rain sideways.
We're gonna do academia now!
On this edition of Dark Odyssey Academia, we're going to discuss superstitions. Now, there's superstitions all over the place. We all have those that we know. You know, that don't step on a craft or you break Joe Rice's back over here. What's some of your favorites?
Well, I'll tell you one that's not my favorite because it happened to me today. And
Well, I was just
Cole
going to
knows.
say, my favorite thing is that he's
I
been
was-
using a broken mirror for God knows how long, so that might explain something.
So
It is
I'm in there. I'm doing the shaving of the head. I got my little mirror, which is cracked. And I'm having a problem with my new contraption buzzer.
Right.
So I go to switch hands and a million pieces in the bathroom.
7 years
Yes.
of bad luck.
But I compound that and I push it back with rice luck, which is the luck of, me.
The luck of the rice?
The luck of the rice.
Is it kind of like the luck of the Irish?
Better.
Okay.
It's better.
They do say to put wet objects in rice to save them, so.
So,
Maybe.
That's good.
So yeah, I broke the mirror today, and supposedly it's 7 years of bad luck. I do not believe in bad luck. I believe in rice luck, which, for me is a great thing. It's like
just for you.
April mentioned, it's like the luck of the Irish, only better. So some of the other superstitions that we all know is, black cats crossing your path, right?
Don't
Which
put new
I
shoes on the table.
don't believe that.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
either.
I have a
I
black
forgot
cat.
that was a
Yeah.
superstition.
Wait, what is it?
Don't put new shoes on the table.
I don't know.
Oh,
Death.
yes.
What? I never heard about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
shoes.
My family for you. You know when you go shopping, you buy shoes, you put your packages on the table,
Yeah.
brings the death.
Actually, any shoes.
What about on the bed?
would-
My mother used to say
The
that.
bed, it's okay.
Just the table.
Just the table.
My mother used to say that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Don't put your
table, or is
shoes
it
on.
like the table you eat at?
Any
Or
table,
any
as far
table.
as I know.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, any table.
I mean, I've
Does
done
it
one,
the
but I don't think
box
it's
or
appropriate.
they actually take the shoes out and put the shoes on the
Any
table?
part.
Anything.
Any part of that?
Yeah.
In a
Yeah.
bag, even if you like you.
Yep. Brings to death.
Yeah, my family did that too. There's also like light superstitions, like you drop a fork or you drop a spoon, company's coming. Or something
Oh,
like
we-
that.
Yeah,
Well,
a spoon, it's a woman, and if it's a fork, it's a man.
Now it's
Yeah.
funny because in my family, a spoon was a child, a knife was a man, a fork was a woman. My daughter-in-law, as soon as that utensil hits the floor, somebody has to run and step on it. Like she's frantic. Step on it! Because the spoon, then somebody's pregnant and she doesn't want to be pregnant. And then the other one's being a fight. So everybody's scrambling to run into the kitchen to step on a utensil. Yeah.
So when you
Crazy.
spill salt, you're supposed to throw a little over your shoulder, and I
Yep.
used to do that until the guy behind me got really mad. So I stopped that.
You were supposed to throw the whole shaker.
There are like where these superstitions came from. I mean, like actual, like it just progressed into a superstition, but they actually have roots in something.
Yeah, I mean, but if it's the palm of your hand, if it's itchy, depending on which side is itchy,
Yep.
it's either you're going to give money or you're going to receive money. If it's
Exactly.
your right hand, you're giving money. If it's your left hand, you're receiving it.
Itchy
Yeah.
nose, either you're going to
Itchy
have
nose,
a
you have a
fight,
fight.
or kiss a fool.
It's a fool.
Something about bringing in your ears.
Yeah,
Bringing in your ears,
bringing in
somebody's
someone's
talking
talking about you.
Yeah, left for love, right for
What,
spite.
what's
Yep.
the somebody walked down my grave one? What's that feeling that comes? Is it the ear ringing or?
No, that's a chill up your back, isn't it? That somebody walked over
Yeah,
your
yeah,
grave?
yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
Which,
That's interesting.
yeah, I guess like your past life. Great.
Yeah, because I'm thinking,
Yeah, ain't
bring
that-
it on.
yeah.
Well, never know. I
Joe,
suppose.
Joe, you get chills up your spine all the time.
It's true.
Oh, I got the chill up my spine.
Oh, it's coming. Maybe I just got to poop. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm sure that don't walk under a ladder. That's another one.
Oh, don't put your pocketbook on the floor.
Do not open
Oh,
an
yeah, that
umbrella.
one's big with my
like-
wife. Big. It takes all your money or something.
Takes all
like
your
that, right?
money.
If you
What is it?
a
Pocketbook on the
Pocketbook on the floor.
Money no more. That's my favorite.
And it's like purposeful.
Yeah.
Like she gets crazy because like it happens accidentally. Other people will do it and knock it over by accident, but that's still no matter when
Right,
it
right.
touches the floor. That's the end, right?
so interesting.
Do not open an umbrella in the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's two umbrellas open
I actually
right now.
did that just to freak something.
Just pay no mind to those umbrellas.
I do it all the time.
No wonder my life sucks.
I gotta go home. I don't know what's going on. I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be late. Oh my god, I'm gonna be late. It's all because of the umbrellas? Wow.
See that?
Glad we figured this out.
Yeah. See?
Chris, you can
There's your
pack the lights
answer.
up.
Yeah, like some of them make sense. It's like don't walk under a ladder because
Well-
the ladder might fall on you.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's
I
not-
walk on the
Somebody
lights all the time.
somebody dropped a hammer on your head, though.
No, somebody threw a hammer in my ass.
That's why you don't walk on the ladders. Let's get a close up of
I
that.
was nowhere near the ladder. I was probably about 20 feet away from the ladder, and the hammer just came flying down.
But yeah, there's a lot of them, and the roots of superstition is I guess some of them are to keep people safe. I guess some of them are just absurd.
Well, how about clinking of
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Glass?
cheers.
And actually, I do
cheers.
that. I will.
Yeah, that's like a
I do
positive-
I
that.
heard it's bad to cheers with water. Is that a thing?
I know.
I don't know. I,
It's like there's people.
I very rarely cheers with water.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
the one person at the table who's there to not drink, and they have a cup of water, and they will refuse to cheers with the rest of us. And they say because it's bad luck. But I never heard that one before. Is that a
I've
thing?
never heard. No, I.
Never
But you
heard
have to
most of
cheers.
these, but-
It's a thing. And
Right.
it's funny. It's ridiculous. It is. Like, she can tell you. I'll be like chasing after you. Wait!
I know there's an well, I heard this from my Ayurvedic teacher. It's like I guess a Hindu thing. I don't know, but it's bad luck to wash your hair dry. Like you have to have oil in your hair. So you always apply oil and then you wash your hair.
So let's talk about the one that pretty much in our day and age every woman goes through on that special day. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. That's a superstition.
That is.
Where
Every
did that
time
come
a
from?
woman gets married. It's for good
Or
luck.
if the groom
Yeah.
sees the bride before the wedding.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
That's craziness too. I wouldn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have the umbrellas up again? Is that why?
That was our photographer's job that day.
He had the umbrellas up.
Yeah.
It's still umbrellas
always
up
something.
around you. The thing.
It's a photography thing. Are there any more superstitions that come to mind?
I don't know. We could look some up, but for the most part, I think.
Hey,
What else is there?
It's interesting that you brought up that example of a positive superstition of like doing the cheers thing. I'm trying to think of more stuff like
Well,
that. 'Cause,
the
you think
mistletoe
about-
is a superstition.
Yeah.
Right.
Horseshoe over the doorway is
Yeah.
a superstition.
Right,
Pointing
with
out.
the forks up so that the
If
luck
you-
never
Yeah.
runs out.
If you put a harp on the wall, it has to be facing a certain way. If you put a horseshoe on the wall as well, it has to be
Yeah, right. If it's
Right.
like face
Way.
down,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, same thing with
repelling
Buddha.
the good
Right,
luck,
yeah.
basically.
You always keep a horseshoe up so that the luck
Yep.
never runs out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Elephants should always point to the door if you have a statue of an
Trunk
elephant.
up.
Trunk
Yeah.
up.
Never
Well,
heard that
if
one
it's
before.
a statue and the trunk's down, it's not my fault. But
You shouldn't buy the statue.
There you go.
I
shouldn't be in the house. Yeah.
I just clarity. I have no elephant statues. I'm
Elephants
just
facing
saying.
the door. Why is that?
It brings good luck into your house
If the elephant's facing outwards. Okay.
towards the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that means your house isn't going to get trampled.
Okay. Yeah, he's on the way
Right,
out.
it's not facing in the house to trample you.
Good to know that you don't have that, so we have to watch for that now. Amongst the other things.
Oh, you're gonna like what I have in my house now. You're gonna like it.
I don't really think I want to know.
No, yeah, you do. It's funny. It's good. It's one of my best. Joe Foo's gonna love it.
I mean, I love the working toilet handle, so I can imagine what this is. And this running sink water. That was a great idea.
Yeah.
That was a good improvement.
Yeah.
Although we just got to get your stove to stop turning on randomly.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other story. That's
people-
something
and the-
with Cole and
You know,
me.
and the spirits walking out of your bathroom.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
That had nothing to do with me.
So I put a sign up to direct them into a certain way.
Did you put up a sign that said "Get out"?
No, I said insane asylum that way towards the upstairs door. Yeah.
Oh, that'll work.
And then there's a new sign on the bathroom door too.
Nice.
It says wash balls here.
Now
It's a golf sign.
Now I'm going to take even more time in there. Just what we needed.
So to wrap this up, there are very many superstitions all over the world. None of us really know where some of them came from. Some of them are hilarious. Some of them are a little weird. But altogether, it's what makes everything worth it. Back to Joe.
So that was a good episode today. We spoke about a lot of interesting things with the rapture and superstitions and Mothman.
That got such a reaction before. You guys liked it.
I have no idea what that was. But thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. I'm Joe Rice. This is The Journey. Check you later.
And this is the end of episode.
forgot.
The old timers is setting in.
Welcome to the, wait, what are we doing? Welcome to the journey. This is Dark Odyssey, and we are taking you to the end of days. On this edition of the journey, shut the fuck up!
George! Superstitious. Go already.
Oh God!
Very superstitious.
Please.
That should be like,
on the wall.
that's a thing.
That's the thing. The rest of us sit here and go like this. Oh God, they're at it again. Collectively, we're all sitting like this, and inside we're all going, they're at it again. There we go. You just need a ping pong ball. Can you put that in?
Good stuff.
I think that's lively.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what? People be looking for that. I was like, come on, I want to see the fight between Rice and Tina.
Like I said, my father was just like, I want to watch the show because I want to see you guys yelling him more.
Well, we started off so good.
Makes it good, I think.
I think so too.
I don't mean anything. You know that, right?
This is more
Yeah,
interesting when we
Rice.
do that.
Yeah.
Just commenting. It's great when we all yell at each
No, I want
other.
to make sure that we understand it. I'm just.
One of the best things we had, we don't have in the show, is the two of you going at it right as we were setting up.
300, 500, fuck you!
But you missed the whole part with his
No, I know. I
300, 500, fuck you! Seems still funny.
Black Cat, that's the first one.
Let's talk about the basic ones we know from our culture, and then like
You're on break.
then he and
Shut up, get outside.
Then he fuck you, Tina. Fuck you, April.
He's like, wait a minute.
Fuck you, Chris. Fuck you, Joe.
He's just,
Fahugawas.
Fuck you, Bo.
everyone gets one.
Fahugawas.
You get a fuck you. And you
You're gonna
get a fuck you.
Bo, you want these
Cigarette break.
No.
Maybe
Fuck
that's maybe if you're like
and Google, can you curse on YouTube?
Yeah, you expect it from him.
it's never
It's just he never disappoints.
right. You're
I
right.
didn't see
It's
your
never
face.
shocking, but it's
The
awesome.
meat!
Oh, you smell it.
It's gonna make me thirsty.
Of course.
Oh, is this how we're gonna bleep you?
No, thank you.
What, meat? I'll take some meat. Put meat in my mouth. Put it in my
It's
mouth.
not cheese.
This ain't Harry Ray.
8.
Look at my bag.
Pepper Jack and Roll.
Thank you.
None for me, thank you. Garcon.
Slap me in the face with a piece of Swiss.
Oh, I got that.
Nope.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. That was
Superstitions, huh?
Yeah.
Don't step out a crack or you'll break Joe Rice's back was the cracks.
Crack.
Let's go into Mothman.
He's like, I'm gonna go with the Mary
Mothman.
Magdalene.
So Jesus.
I am the Mothman.
I am the walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Helter Skelter. Oh, we're not going to continue. On this week's.
Don't even try that shit. Oh shit.
Wow.
On this year's.
Good catch.
April mentioned it's like the luck of the Irish only better, but there are some, you know, some superstitions that.
We're interchangeable.
What?
Like you said, the luck of the Irish.
No, she did. Didn't she?
No, he did. We look so much alike.
Wait. We need to back up.
look
She
great with
said
curly
that.
red
He said the luck of the rice.
No, she says that like luck of the Irish. I
He said the
No,
luck of the Irish.
he said the luck of the Irish.
She said like the luck of the rice.
No, I didn't even say the luck of the rice.
Oh, I thought you did.
He said the luck of the rice.
Oh,
Check, please.
Oh, God.
All right, time to go to bed, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Thanks for the rough edit, guys.
So it's like luck of the Irish, but only better. Okay, so we'll move on from that, and
They do say to put wet objects in rice to save them, so. Maybe
That's good.
if we put our things inside of you, they'll save everything.
you ain't putting
Yeah.
on
It's like, oh, there we went.
Not having it.
Well, I was gonna say. So does that mean you have something like the spirits of Tina Nog inside of you that come out all the time? What? Do you have little elves that come out of your asshole all the time?
No! And if I did, I hope one of you would let me know. I'm scared now.
And that's where brown rice was born.
That can't make it. Don't put that in, please.
I couldn't get it to load. I
was waiting for the
What is this with acorns and women?
They got
What?
you with the clickbait.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never heard of this.
I don't. Neither have I.
It's an old language we used to speak.
Exactly.
Oh, you were in the car that day?
Yes! You were there too? No. Oh, so you don't know what I was saying then?
You know, I just have to say, for the life of me, when he said women on their special day, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? I'm like, did
No way to
hear
I
it?
know! That's what I thought he was gonna do! I was like, oh, here we go, he's gonna get smacked.
I was being
I can't wait. I'm
respectful.
gonna move over so that the swing can be nice and
I
wide.
was being respectful. I could have said on the day her life ends, you know, when she gets back.
That would have been your end of days! We already had it at the end of the other episode, episode 4.
What do we got, Chris? Throw some superstitions at us.
All right, so let's wrap that up then.
This has been Superstitions, brought to you by Dark Odyssey.
And brown rice.
That's bad.
I'm sorry, I had to.
Don't forget to step on all those cracks and break Joe Rice's back.
Don't cheers with a glass of water.
Definitely can't use this one though.
Oh, of course not.
There's no way. There's no way we can use that one.
And this is the end of episode.